Hello. Okay, welcome back to the Inspired Lady podcast for however long we're going to call it that. Again, I know I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Really tossing around a name change. Really tossing around a name change right now. So we'll see. I haven't completely landed on it, but I am really excited about it. I've got some things in the works, some ideas happening, okay? But all of that to say, for now, welcome to the Inspired Lady podcast. And I have just really loved the episodes lately. I feel like they've been so fun, actually really beneficial. And not I always try to make sure they're beneficial, but I don't know. I feel like we're killing it lately, and you guys are amazing and having so much fun talking with you guys, and it was so sweet. I actually got to meet some people a couple weeks ago. And so if you're listening right now, love you. Thank you for coming up and saying hi and that you listen to the podcast. But ways. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about nutrition and my current nutrition plan because I'm feeling better than I literally ever have. Okay. I kid you not. I am in such a really sweet space with nutrition and just movement. And we talked about movement a couple weeks ago as far as that whole plan. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go listen to it after this. I just kind of break down currently what the routine is for movement and working out and where I'm at, and I'm loving it so much. But I realize nutrition is a huge portion of that, and I'm always going to be hesitant to talk nutrition because of just my own personal past of dealing with disordered eating. So I was diagnosed when I was younger with anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and then body dysmorphia disorder. So I had to go through a ton of recovery for all of that, a ton of different programs and just counseling, all of the situations. And I was able to learn a lot through that. I actually then later on, through a program, got licensed. I'm not licensed. I'm not licensed. I'm a certified nutritionist. I always forget the difference between the two. I'm a certified nutritionist, not a licensed one. And so with all of that, obviously every body is so different, every single body. But within that, there are some just like really key things that we can focus on and areas that we can lean into that will help us be better at nourishing our body, putting things in our body that's actually beneficial and helpful and going to, in the long run, help us stay healthy instead of just instant gratification, because that's often what happens. So if you're dealing with disordered eating, there's kind of two lanes you can fall into. Is going to be the overall just kind of binging and eating a lot, feeling guilty about that, not being able to control your cravings. That side is one which I dealt with post anorexia. And then there's the side where you're going to just limit yourself and you're really trying to stay away from certain foods because they become fear foods, and you're really trying to just avoid meals. Okay. And that's going to be more the anorexia side. So there's two main veins that you're going to fall into, is overeating or undereating in disordered eating. And sadly, I think the majority of us struggle with this is because it is so hard to find a healthy relationship with food that doesn't fall into one of those. Okay. And that's like something separate we can talk about, is just what that looks like, how to combat some of those habits that are really hard. But when you're in a good place with food, it is really important that you are just not thinking about it all the time, which is why I really haven't done a nutrition episode like this in a while, because I try not to keep at the forefront. I don't want food to become the focus for all of us, including myself. But with that being said, you do have to be aware of it in order to create a healthy habit. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is being aware of what we're eating, but not over consumed with it. So I am aware of what my macros, which I'll get to that in just a second, should be each day. And it's in the back of my mind at each meal. Okay, yeah, I think I'm doing good with this, but I'm not tracking. I am not writing down how much food I'm consuming, especially when the micros come in. I am not tracking anything like that. I'm just aware of where I should be at and try to do my best to be somewhere in that vicinity each day. Okay. And that's pretty much it. All right. So first of all, there are some things that I am actively avoiding. Okay. And there's reasons for it, okay? So first of all, I have become sober curious. Okay, sober curious. Let me break this down. And I love this because I will tell anyone about this that I can. I am not. The word sober comes with weight. Okay, there are people who are sober and they have fought and they have just worked so hard to get to that point in their lives that I cannot come in here, at least with a good conscience, and be like, yes, I'm sober, and make people think that I have gone through a similar battle in any way, shape, or form. I know people who are sober and they have worked so hard to get there that I would never claim that title, even though we are both abstaining from alcohol. Okay, so I call it sober curious, which means I am sober, yes, but not out of anything that I have done, not because I have put in work for it, more so just because I'm curious about it. And so it's a lighter way of saying it. It takes off some of the pressure, some of the weight. So I am sober curious, and that just means that I am not drinking alcohol. I never really was a big alcohol person, but I definitely have, I've had wine multiple times. I love a good cocktail with my family, that kind of thing. And then my dad and my brother were both bartenders. Okay. So they were always cooking up some fancy cocktail and wanting us to try it. Okay. That's all fine and good. However, when you actually look at alcohol, it's like low-key poison. And so this is not for any religious reason. This is not for any, moral stand. No, none of that. This is because alcohol is A, so high in calories, and then B, it literally is like poisoning you. Like, it's hurting your brain. And that's why you get sick after you drink too much, and like it's in your bloodstream, all this stuff. And the more I learned about like what alcohol actually does to your body, the more I was like, wow, this is not great. And I don't enjoy the taste of alcohol enough to keep doing this, even at the infrequent level that I was. So I have decided I'm not going to drink alcohol. Again, it's just how it is. And it's not to be like a stick in the mud. It's just, I really don't enjoy it enough for the toll it takes on my body. So I've decided, sober curious. Okay. Next, we are 100% limiting dairy, more so for skin reasons, because dairy can be extremely inflammatory for my skin, and already being an acne prone girly, I don't really want a ton of dairy. So I limit that. However, with that being said, when I get a latte, if it's whole milk, okay, whatever. And I best believe I have cheese regularly, daily. Okay. So those are two areas I'm not going to limit myself. I don't really do a lot of ice cream. I don't really do a lot of yogurts, anything like that, butters, whatever. So, actually, this is embarrassing. Is butter dairy? Butter comes from a cow or a goat. Interesting. Fun fact. Don't know. Pretty sure it is. Anyways, I limit that no matter what. Okay. Not completely taking it out, but I'm also limiting processed foods, because processed foods are really bad for us. We all know it. So anytime I look at food, I always ask myself the question, did God make this or did man? Which is an easy way, is this super processed? Like if I have a box of Cheez-Its sitting there versus, a bag of grapes, like obviously like God made the grapes, man made the Cheez-Its. Better to lean towards the grapes. Okay. So limiting processed food with highly saturated fats in it, obviously very, very good. Everyone knows that. But also not feasible to live a fun life and completely cut it out, because every time you go out to eat, you're probably consuming some sort of processed food. And I love to go out to eat, so we're not going to cut that out at all. But it's just limited. Okay. As far as gluten goes, I don't necessarily have like an intolerance to it or anything like that, but you will find a lot of gluten in mostly like those man-made foods. So I limit it. It's amazing. Fantastic. Just less than. Okay. So then when it comes to my actual food intake, okay, I'm not tracking, but I am aware enough of what my body needs to make sure that I'm hitting things. Okay. So I am maybe-ish somewhere around 140 pounds. I don't know. That's what I go off of though. Okay. It's a similar weight to other people that look like me. I know that. And so 140 pounds. That's where I stay. And so I build a lot of my um nutrition plan around that idea. And again, it's not because I won't weigh myself ever. I'm never again. And when I go to the doctor's office, fun fact, you can tell the doctor no. And I won't let them weigh me. I say, yeah, put whatever you think. It's fine. You want to fund me, but I don't want to know. Um, and they always do it. They're chill. They're fine. It's actually really, really fine. So anyways, but it's still important to know ish where your macros should be. So I know I should get ish as someone who is constantly strength training or doing Pilates and in recovery mode and all of that. I shoot somewhere around 120 grams of protein a day, which is like a part-time job. Like it's insane trying to get that much protein in, but it's really good. I do protein shakes, I do a lot of eggs, I do a lot of ground beef, a lot of ground turkey, salmon, things like that, tuna, all that good stuff. And I focus on it, and I usually hit closer to 100 than I do 120, but my goal is 120. So days that I can reach 120, fantastic. I know that I need ish 160 carbs a day. That's my goal. That's where I try to stay, just as someone who is trying to make sure that my body's healthy. Now it's gonna go up obviously when I'm like on my period and things like that. But ish where I'm gonna be. And then 50 grams of fat. Somewhere around there. The protein one I more regularly track because it's easier to kind of be like, oh, okay, I know how many grams of protein this has, give or take some. This is all very loose. This is just in the back of my mind while I'm preparing a meal. Is one, how much of this did God make versus man? Because how much of this is processed? Two, am I somewhere near my macro levels of what I need to be getting? Oh, I'm kind of low on protein today. I need to add a little more protein. Oh, I'm kind of low on carbs today, or maybe I need to cut out a few of the carbs here, a little less potato, whatever. That's kind of just the back of my mind focused. And so finding those increments for yourself of kind of where do you want to be sitting on those, and just having it in the back of your mind while you're cooking, while you're making your meals, while you're eating, super, super important. And then as far as water goes, I do focus on drinking about 100 ounces, give or take what my day was consisting of water a day. So I have the 40-ounce Simple Modern cup right here, and I do 2 of those, one in the morning, one at night, and that gets me to 80 ounces. And then I throughout the day just make sure that I have another half of one of them. And so usually it goes one full one in the morning, one full one in the afternoon, and then I will have half of one at night, and that's kind of my nighttime water, and then resets the next day. So that's the way I focus on water, making sure I'm still very hydrated. That helps a lot with skin health and just your overall digestion, your organs operating properly, your blood flow, everything. Increasing water intake is really, really good. The time that I'm eating is also very important. I've really started focusing on breakfast when I wake up. So I will go through part of my morning routine. So about an hour after I wake up, I will make some eggs, sometimes some sausage in there, whatever it is, high protein breakfast. And then I will do a protein shake after I do my workout, because protein post-workout is really, really good. And then I'm really trying to get better at not eating late at night, because usually I love a good like 7-8 p.m. dinner. I just, for some reason, that's when I feel like dinner should be. But that's not great for my sleep. It does impact my sleep. I can actually track it. And the nights that I eat closer to 8 p.m., I don't sleep as well. And so moving that back closer to like 5:36 is a lot better. So I focus on my dinner time being earlier if possible. Now, the reason why my dinner gets so late is because lunches, I'm not good at a consistent lunch. And so my lunches tend to happen naturally more 2 p.m. So just trying to be more disciplined at the timing that I'm eating and less focused on just eating whenever I feel like it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a nutrition overhaul of what I'm doing. I have some go-to just like recipes within that. Almost every morning I make scrambled eggs, like I said, sometimes sausage in there, sometimes with a sourdough English muffin, and then I do some cottage cheese in the scrambled egg mix because it's better than sprinkled cheese, and add some protein back in, and I love that so much. Super good. If I have it on hand, I will put in some spinach or some onions and tomatoes into that mix too. For lunch, I went over that tuna bowl with you guys last week, but I'll do tuna, pickles, and avocado in a bowl sometimes, or sometimes I will do more of a like kale base chicken, air fried chicken on top, and then some hot honey drizzled over the top. I love that so much. And then that's a lighter lunch that I like to do. And then sometimes I will do more of like a Chipotle bowl kind of style lunch, or just a generic salad for lunch. So my lunches are always pretty light. And then for dinner, usually it's going to be a chickpea pasta with ground turkey and some marinara sauce, or it's going to be ground beef bowls with some more of that at-home Chipotle kind of thing with tortilla chips. Or it's going to be a grilled salmon with some potatoes on the side. I love, my favorite night of the week is when we do steak frites. So little steak bites and fries. So good. My absolute obsession. I also love a good ground beef bowl with some cottage cheese, avocado, and sweet potatoes. So as long as I didn't have avocado or cottage cheese earlier in the day, I try to like add that in at least once a day to get some of that going. So that's all really good. I love a Ninja Creamy for dessert, or a yogurt bowl with a scoop of protein powder mixed with some honey. I'll make that really easily. Some rice cakes. For snacks during the day, I have some hard-boiled eggs, cucumber, maybe some cheese and pepperoni, like little, think mini charcuterie board vibes. So those are all things that I love. And then obviously I have my daily coffee with some creamer in it. So that's kind of the vibes of what we're eating. Feeling really good about it. Usually hitting the macros. Matt tracks his macros and has a really good relationship with food. So sometimes I'll ask him like, hey, does this day seem like I hit what I need to hit? And he'll do the calculations for me, which is great, having him to kind of just like help me make sure that I'm staying in a healthy place, but then also making sure that I am getting the food I need to get. So that was a lot. That was a lot to tell you kind of where I'm at nutritionally, and what I'm feeling. And it's amazing. It's really, really good. It's a good spot to be. 10 out of 10, guys. Highly recommend just kind of starting to build that plan out and not obsessing over it, but being aware of it, because obsession and avoidance are two sides of the same coin. So you can obsess about something, you can avoid something. Either way, same coin. So trying to find a good balance of the two, of being aware but not overly cautious, is really, really important. So hopefully this was helpful. And yeah, if you have any good recipes, feel free to send them my way, because I'm constantly looking.